Good day everyone, welcome to my new science school maths class. In this class, we are going to discuss on numbers. What is number? If somebody asks you what is number, it's very simple question, but it's very difficult to answer with explaining the types of numbers. When we say number, yes, we are referring to 1, 2, 3, and so on. But what are the different types of numbers? Let's start with real number. When we say real number, we mean are those numbers that are real, or let's say are those numbers that we know. Real number. So real number divided into two. We have what is called rational and irrational. Let's start with irrational. Irrational numbers or irrational number. So irrational numbers are those numbers that are without endings, that are infinite. So example of irrational numbers are or is, let's say, pi. As everyone knows, the value of pi is 22 all over 7. When we calculate 22 all over 7 in calculator, we'll find some numbers, or we'll get some numbers that are very long, large amount of decimals numbers. So we'll get something like 3.142 with too much numbers. So let's say large number of numbers. And one important thing that characterizes the irrational numbers is that they are unpredictable. You cannot predict them as when 5 come, then the next number is 4. Nothing like that. So they are unpredictable. That's why they are called irrational numbers. Now, let's go to the other hand, which is rational. When we say rational, are those numbers that are predictable and are easy to handle. And they are our main concern here in this lesson or in mathematics lesson. So we have rational number. Rational number is classified further into 3. Into 2. We have integer and non-integer. Non-integer are those numbers that are not whole numbers. When I say whole numbers, I mean something like 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 are integers, but opposite of the whole numbers is fraction. That is something that is not up to 1. Something like 1 over 2, 1 over 3. So those are integers. So integers is, or those numbers that are under integers, all are fractions. All are fractions. Then fraction is further divided into 3 different forms. We have vulgar form, we have decimal form, and also we have percentage form of expressing fractions. So under fraction now we have vulgar. Now we will just say vulgar form, not vulgar fraction. Vulgar form of fraction. Vulgar form. Then we have decimal form, Then we have the last one, which is percentage form. Percentage, which is very important because we are using percentage in our daily activities. So percentage form. Percentage form of vulgar fraction, or percentage form of expressing fraction. So under vulgar fraction, good example of vulgar fraction are, vulgar fraction is a form of fraction that will express the fraction in terms of one number above and other below. For example, when I wrote fraction, when I say 1 over 2, or when I wrote 1 over 2, I mean this is a fraction, but the form of fraction that I wrote here is vulgar form. 1 over 2 is a fraction. That means 1 divided by 2, or 1 split into 2, or 1 out of 2. So it's a vulgar form of fraction. Another form of fraction is, or let's say another example of vulgar fraction is 3 over 4. 3 over 4 is just, let's say, out of 4 pieces, you pick 3. So you pick 3 out of 4 pieces. Now, let's try and express this in form of decimal form. Or let me add another example under vulgar form of fraction. Let's say 1 over 5. 1 over 5, it also means that we have 5 pieces and you took 1 from them. So you have 1 over 5. Now, all those forms are vulgar forms of fraction. Now, let's proceed and see how they are in form of decimal fraction or decimal form of fraction. Now, 1 over 2 in terms of decimal form will be expressed as 0.5. How do you get decimal form of fraction? It's just simple. Just use your calculator and say 1 over 2. The answer will be in form of decimal fraction. So we have 0.5 as 1 over 2. That means all are fractions, all are numbers that are not up to 1, but can be expressed in different form. We express 1 in form of vulgar, and also we express it in form of decimal. So let's move to the next, which is 3 over 4. 3 over 4, when you press your calculator, you will get the number you get number exactly 0.75. So 0.75 is a decimal form of expressing 3 over 4, which means for me to give you 3 over 4 of something is just the same as to give you 0.5 or 0.75% of the same thing. Hope you understand that. Then let's move to the next, which is 1 over 5. 1 over 5 now. When we do the calculation, 1 over 5 is equal to 0.2. So 1 over 5 is equal to 0.2, which means 0.5 to give you something, or to give you 0.5 of something, is the same as to give you 1 over 5 of something is the same as to give you 0.5 of that thing. Now we have vulgar form of fraction and decimal form of fraction. Let's move to the percentage form of fraction. Percentage form of fraction is just the same fraction but expressed in percentage. What is percentage? Percentage is just multiplying something by 100 or expressing something in terms of 100. If you have 0.5, we know is half. It is written here 1 over 2 1 over 2 here is, or it just means out of 2 pieces you pick 1. That means you pick half of it. What is left there is 1. What is with you is 1. So it's just half of everything. Now, to express this half of what you took, or to express this half, what you should do is you will just multiply it by 100 to express it in terms of percentage. So if I want to express half in terms of percentage, I will just say the half multiplied by 100, which is equal to 50%. So giving you 50% of something is the same as giving you 0.5% of that thing, or 1 over 2%, or let's say, 1 over 2 of the thing. So now we have 0.5 to express it in this form of percentage. We'll just multiply it by 100. So 0.5 multiplied by 100, you will get exactly 50%. But now you must put percent, because you will not confuse anybody, because 0.5 is not the same as 50. So leaving it just 50, it doesn't mean percentage, or it doesn't mean half, because 0.5 is different from half. But putting the percentage, that means you are expressing the quantity in terms of 100. So now we have 50%. So the next thing is 0.75. 0.75 is fraction. For you to express it in form of percentage, or its decimal form, for you to express it in percentage, you will just multiply it by 100. So 0.75 multiplied by 100 is equal to 75%. So when I say 75%, it's just 7 or 0.7 of the whole thing, or 3 over 4 of the whole thing. So don't be confused between 0.5 and 50%, or 3 over 4 and 75%. So now 0.2. 0.2 to express in terms of percentage is just 20%, because if you multiply 0.2 with 100, you'll just get 20%. So what is here is, think about it. 1 over 5 is just how many 1 are there in 5. We'll get 5 ones. Then come here and say how many 20 are there in 100. We have 5 20s. So that's how you will get, this is the way you get percentage. So this percentage form, we have fraction. These all are fractions. What I mean is the other division of rational numbers. Other division of the rational number is, we have non-integer already, so the next is integer. What is integer now is whole number. Non-integer, we say they are not whole numbers, while integers now means whole number. What are the example of whole number? We have 4 different example. We have negative. Let me write it in black. Negative. You have negative integer, which can be written as minus. Let me add EV, just to get familiar with EV, because we are going to use it in different subject of science like physics and chemistry, more especially. Then we have 0 integer. So 0 is an integer. 0, which is 0. I don't need to explain further what is 0 mean. Then we have positive. Positive. I think everybody know what is positive. As soon as you hear something like negative, positive must follow. So positive, which means plus. Let me add EV. This EV is just is another way of expressing or saying something. Adding plus EV just means positive. So now we have negative 0 and positive. What are the negative numbers? We know those negative numbers are those numbers that has minus before them. For example, -2, -3, -8, -9, all are negatives. I can say -2, which means -2, or -3, -8, -9. Also here, positive. Those numbers that are positive are those numbers that had plus before them. For example, +1, +2, +3, +4, etc. And one important thing is you can write number without adding any sign to the number, and the number is positive. For example, if you see a number 2 without adding any plus or negative, automatically is positive. Also, 9 here is positive. Let's say 10 positive. 50 is positive. But remember, when it's negative, you cannot hide the negative sign and say just let's say 30, but you mean -30. You cannot. So you must put the negative sign. Also, you cannot say 15 or -15 by writing the negative sign, or that is the negative sign after the 15 like this. You cannot. This is not -15. This is 15 minus. So 15 minus means that this minus does not belong to the 15. So this is very important and very, very, very sensitive. So you cannot use negative after the number and say the negative sign is for the number. You cannot do that. So this is just a summary of what we have done in Hausa, and I hope this is helpful and will help you to learn the let's say the English form of the English version of the lesson. Hope you enjoy it. Have a nice day.